About Judy, I honestly remember only the good things. She was a giant, and she could refer to herself as a 41-year-old, because that's her age at the time. And it was so wonderful in the beginning when George Slaughter was the producer. She came to rehearsals. She wanted to know when the rehearsals were. We had the closing end of the first script, which happened to be Mickey Rooney. That was kind of special. When they re-routined the air shows, they backed off and buried it deeper into the list of shows. But having Mickey Rooney as the opening act for her series was ideal. The Mick couldn't have been better, couldn't have been more up and bright. But when that show was over, and we were having the very first cast party, which on the next stage on 33, I'm standing next to George Slaughter. Judy comes up to George, and it's Friday. She says, "What time do you want me to come to rehearsal on Monday?" And it was that way. We did 5 shows. Lena Horne, Count Basie, I'm going to forget them, Liza, all very specials, because that's the way Slaughter approached it. And that didn't sit well with programming at CBS, because they had a different concept of what Judy Garland should be, and more in line with Gary Moore, in which she would be predictable to the audience, so it wouldn't be so distant. And that was Norman came in, and Norman had a relationship with Judy prior, so it wasn't like bringing in a stiff who didn't have anything to do with the star. He knew what he was doing, and he had good contact, good rapport with Judy. And then the most significant show that I remember in that next series, the next 8, was Smothers Brothers, who guested. Oh, jeepers. Let's see, what else? The fact is that hardly anybody remembered Smothers Brothers were ever on that show. Streisand, at age 19, was the other guest. And I have my own stories about that, but this young lady captivated Judy. She made Judy sing better than anyone. It was the competition part of it. In The Other Side of the Rainbow, it was Mel Torme's book, he described what happened in a run-through with Judy and Barbara in singing a medley together. And I thought he didn't touch on the emotion that went through that whole group of people. And I mean, it was agents, the dancers, the singers, other guests that were sitting in the rehearsal hall, listening to those two sing. It was one chill up and down the spine after another. It superseded the performance that they did on camera for the audience. It couldn't touch the performance that they did in rehearsal hall. And that's just with the piano. It was a moment. And that's out of Norman Jewison's 8 shows, that was number 1 for me.
So why did it end? What's your guess on why it ended?
Part of it was competitions and ratings. Bonanza was a killer. No matter how long that's been on, that took a beating. And that's it. I think, you'll forgive me, but I think that the network lost interest. And that's it. They just...
Do you think Judy lost interest, or was she still gung-ho? She could have had another 13 in her.
Give Judy the stage, microphone, and the orchestra, especially with Mort Lindsay, and she would go on forever. So I don't think she could ever lose interest. It's not her nature. You got a show to do, she comes up to it and even surpasses it. But that's Judy. It's too bad, because what we do have is an archive of 26 musical episodes of an iconic star like Judy that nobody else seems to have. Not that kind of archival material. But we have it now. So nothing was lost in that case. The hardest thing we had to do was the last show, which we honestly never did. We couldn't do 60 minutes of new material to represent the last show. Didn't happen. This is where Judy absolutely did not want to leave. And it was already 3 o'clock in the morning. And this happened when we wanted to resume shooting again. I would go outside to the artist's entrance. There was a coterie of loyal Garland fans, and I met 4 of them, the key people who came back for sort of a reunion. I had not met them that I remembered until I got a chance to meet them again. But we would bring them up, and they're freezing cold out there. 3 a.m. in the morning, they would come and sit in the audience and be part of the clock and an audience for Judy to continue shooting. But it was just too much in this case for Judy to finish the last number. It was a clown number. And it was too much knowing that when she finished that number,
That was it.
that was it.
Wasn't there also, you also were shooting during the Kennedy assassination. I think that was a memorable, I think
Yes,
they had stopped production. They changed the song selection, if I remember.
Yes, and it was Battle Hymn of the Republic. And we did some magic with that particular number. When Judy sang it, as she usually does with her hand mic, the hand mic went out. And we lost a couple of phrases. And the boom operator, Bob Wagner, was smart enough to say, "Get me over there," because she was on the ramp. And then he got the boom over her, and then we got the number completed. And it's really an emotional number. It's not one you could say, "Oops, stop, we're going to do it over again." We had to continue. And that take happened to be the best, even though we lost a chunk. So later, we were able to sync on the dress tape with the air tape, which was not an easy matter because nothing sank, if I can use that term, nothing sunk. You couldn't sync them to run in opposition or otherwise. I mean, that's how much the industry has grown. But then it was, can we do it? I don't know, let's try. And that's what we basically did. Engineering wasn't my bag,
Right.
but they allowed me to be able to go in there and talk it over and try to find solutions. And all I did again is absorb that. And that was kind of fun.
We're always told that there was literally a yellow brick road.
Yes.
Where
My
did
other
it-
boss, Jim Hessen, came up with that idea. He actually painted the yellow brick road that went from the stage entrance, the back entrance, that went through an opening that separated the big hall to her trailer. We had built a little kind of a entryway with green grass as well and some Easter colored things, but that yellow brick road was there. And she would miss that. That's something she had said. I'll miss the yellow brick road.